Okay, so we are live and recording is also on. Perfect. So welcome everyone to our special webinar from the series of subject webinars. Very interesting topic today. We're going to talk about this kind of umbrella topic is studying urban planning and architecture in Germany. And as always, I'm with you. My name is Georgi, the least interesting person as always during the subject webinars for you, mostly behind the scenes, but always here. So for the newcomers, let me tell you briefly, for those who are not familiar with this webinar setting of Zoom, dear attendees, the main button of main so-called bridge of communication between you and us is the Q&A button. You can find it just next to the chat in the bottom part of your Zoom interface. This is already open, this section, and it will be open until the very end of the webinar, and you can send in your questions, as many questions as you like, of course, ideally related to our study programs and related to studying in Germany. And then they will be answered, your questions will be answered either in the written form or at the end of our webinar, towards the end, in around 1 hour, by our guests live. So take this opportunity, send in your questions, and get the best possible answers from our guests. Also, you can see the chat. You cannot use the chat yourself, but we can use the chat and we'll be providing with you some links or some another interesting information. So keep an eye on the chat as well. That being said, let me quickly jump into my part of the presentation shortly. And let me first introduce to you agenda once again. I know you are familiar with it, but still. So we have 3 universities and 3 study programs that we will talk about. So we will open, we'll start with University of Hanover, and we have Dr. Lena Greinke, and she will talk about Master of Science level program in environmental planning and territorial development, major in territorial development. Then we will move to Anhalt University of Applied Sciences, and we have Professor Dr. Nicole Ulrich, and she will talk about MA level program in landscape architecture. And we also have a student Harpriya who joined professor also today. And yeah, a bit last minute change from Frankfurt. We have Professor Dr. Hans-Jürgen Schmitz, and he will talk about Master of Science level program in advanced architecture. So who is behind today's webinar? Let me tell you briefly, if you are not familiar with us, it is My German University, and we are Germany's largest database when it comes to English taught study programs. So we have over 2,600 degree programs, both on bachelor level and master's level, listed on our database. And you can see on the left-hand side that we have also some short courses and language courses as well. Our main goal is to assist international students on their way towards studying in Germany. And we are doing that through 3 key ways. One of the ways you can see in front of your screens our study finder, our database with lots of its filters. You can see just a demo version now, but when you visit our website and go to study finder section, you will be able to see the full version of our study finder with all of its filters, which gives you an opportunity to find programs very easy and time efficiently by controlling lots of things. Even, for example, you can find programs according to your scores in TOEFL and IELTS. The next thing is through writing up articles. We have over 150 comprehensive articles on various topics regarding, of course, studying in Germany. APS, for example, certificate, especially important recently for Indian students. Also, letter of motivation writing, CV writing, blocked account issues, visa issues, etc., etc. All this information is provided for you for free. And last but not least, the third way of helping you is through organizing webinars. We have over 150 webinars per year on different topics. It can be general webinar regarding studying in Germany, or uni assist, or scholarships, etc., or the subject webinars like you are attending right now on different subjects. For example, it can be studying engineering in Germany, studying MBA in Germany, philosophy, biology, etc., etc. So all of the webinars that are already planned, you can find them on our website in the section of webinars, and you can sign up for these webinars for free and attend them, of course, for free. And my suggestion would be for you to also open an account on our webpage. It's also for free. By doing that, you will be able to unlock all of the options that our website is able to offer you. And regarding us, we are based in Hamburg in northern Germany, but we are also based in different parts of Germany, to be honest, and also even in different parts of the world. That's why we're counseling also in different languages. Some of them you can see in front of your screens. All right, so some general information now about studying in Germany. So if there are some people who are also into German taught study programs, my suggestion would be for you to also check out 𝘱𝘢𝘪𝘥𝘪𝘯𝘨. There you might find some interesting programs related to these subjects. But if you are more into English taught study programs, then My German University and our study finder should be your stop. And you can see that we have bachelor courses and also master's courses related to urban planning and architecture discipline. And you can see that almost all of them are taught in English only, and by English only we mean that you do not need any knowledge of German to get into these programs. But of course, keep in mind that knowing German in Germany, it's not a bad idea. Now for the newcomers who do not know what to expect when it comes to studying architecture and urban planning, for example, in Germany, we also have some subject pages which introduces to you, kind of creates for you a bigger picture of what does it mean to study these subjects in Germany, what are the universities that are offering these subjects, these courses in this discipline. For example, what is the rankings of universities, what is the tuition fee ranges that you should expect, etc., etc. All this generic information is there for you on one page, and I think it's quite comfortable for many students. Also, kind of a small suggestion from our side. So when you're searching for the program, it's important to take into account not one or two aspects, but many of them. For example, not only fees or rankings, but city names, etc., etc., but even more. Everything based on your individual background, individual profile, and preferences. This is of utmost importance to take everything into account. Otherwise, you will end up in the wrong program, which is something that I'm sure you don't want to do. Also, I would like you to know about two key types of universities in Germany. First one in German, it's called Universität, or university, just regularly in English, and University of Applied Sciences. In German, it has some different variations in namings. And the key difference that I would like you to have as a takeaway is in focus. So in general, in case of Universität type of university, focus lies more on research and theory. And in case of University of Applied Sciences, it goes more onto application and practice. If you are interested in more differences between these two types, please drop me an email, of course. And last but not least, again, regarding the correct way of searching for the right program, in addition to aspects that I mentioned before, when you're searching for the programs on our study finder, please make sure also to be flexible with wordings and not to be too strict. So to make sure that you are aware of all the opportunities that Germany is able to offer you in this given direction, and you're well informed, and then you can make an informed decision, which from my perspective is crucial for your successful studies and then further for the career. All right. Now we're moving to the interesting part of our afternoon or evening. So we are moving to Hanover, which is not far from where we are right now. I'm talking about myself. So Dr. Lena Greinke, she will be talking about Master of Science level program in Environmental Planning and Territorial Development. And you can see where Hanover is located. It's also quite north of Germany, I would say. Let me stop the screen share and hand it over to Dr. Greinke.
Okay. So welcome, everybody. Thank you very much that I had the opportunity to present here our master's program. So I'm Lena Greinke from Leibniz University Hanover, and I'm employed at the Institute of Environmental Planning, where we offer a full English program, which is called the Master of Science Environmental Planning and Territorial Development. But we have a track or major at our website. It's called major, but we will name it track in the following months. So I put both on this slides, but it's still major on our website. And it's a major in territorial development, so deep knowledge about spatial development, spatial planning, especially a focus on regional development and territorial and spatial things. Let me introduce the University of Hanover. So we are Leibniz University, and the spirit of Leibniz is global thinking and interdisciplinary research. This is what we also try to focus on in our lectures, but also in the spirit of the whole university. We are structured in around 13 different faculties and institutions, and we are based at the Architecture and Landscape Science faculty. So this is our main faculty we belong to, and we our study program is at. So we have a lot of topics that are somehow related to spatial context, but also to landscape, for example, landscape architecture, but architecture itself, and also our territorial development major, which is completely in English. Most of the other programs are somehow in German, but still a few courses are in English. We are located in the heart of the city of Hanover, I would say. So here you can see the locations of the university, and our campus is at Herrenhausen, which is very close to the 𝘱𝘢𝘳𝘵. So based in a huge green campus where you can enjoy your study time with your colleagues, but also have a good learning environment, which is also important if you think about where to go. So Hanover is somehow in the middle of Germany, more or less in the north, but it's very good connected to other larger cities. So you have also the opportunity to get to know Germany a bit better from Hanover. Our university is very international. So this is just an overview about international partnerships and collaborations. So most of our institutes, most of our staff, I would say nearly all, are able to speak English, sure German, but we are getting international more and more. So we had a lot of international projects and a lot of international study programs. And I want to present what you can study at the Institute of Environmental Planning. So here you can see the building of the institute, which is very close to the 𝘱𝘢𝘳𝘵, and it's also very green. And this is the main point of our study programs, I would say. So we have a lot of different degree programs. For example, the Bachelor in Landscape Architecture and Environmental Planning and the Master in Landscape Architecture. Both programs are in German, so I will go more into detail with our master's program about environmental planning and territorial development. And there we have a German-speaking major, which is nature conservation and landscape planning, and the completely English-speaking major, territorial development. Sure, we have also some English courses in the other major of nature conservation and landscape planning, but there it's more or less in German. So the territorial development is completely in English. So what can you expect from the Masters in Environmental Planning and Territorial Development? In our time, we are dealing a lot with sustainable development. How can we build a better future for us, for our children, for the whole world? And because of a lot of changes, for example, climate change, but also society that changes, we expect or we already feel a lot of consequences on humanity, on plants, fauna, but also on ecology, economy. So these are the main aspects we are dealing with, and we try to combine those huge and large challenges with spatial development, for example, when we are talking about renewable energies, but also urban and rural relations, the conservation of biodiversity, and a lot of other challenges we are dealing in an environmental and spatial context. As I said, we had two different major. The one on nature conservation is focusing, as it said, on nature conservation and on the implementation of landscape planning. But we also have the other major, this is in English, which is focusing on planning instruments, the spatial development, and how territorial development is happening in Germany, but also in other countries. If you study the program in Hanover, you will get an expert and you really learn how to understand landscapes, regions, but also the current use or the potential use of those areas. And you will get to know the complexity of spatial development. Our students also learn how to develop landscape designs and not only how to fulfill the real task, I don't know, with development of plans or something like this. So I would say the more or less hard skills, but we're also dealing a lot with governance styles and the user interests. So how people deal with the environment, with the spatial context, and how we can somehow combine the nature conservation with the planning law and the spatial development that has to be done. I brought here an overview about the course content. So what do we have in our program? we have a lot of, no, not a lot. We have a few mandatory modules, which are, for example, urban and regional development or environmental planning, as well as European Union policies. So those everyone has to do. And we had a lot of time for elective modules, which means that you can somehow choose in which way do you want to deepen your knowledge. So you can choose a lot of elective modules that deal with different deeper contexts. So for example, you can choose something about planning methodology, but also about planning theory, or you can deal with sustainability. So we have a lot of changing topics every semester so that you can somehow really define what do you want to deepen in your course, in your study program. And one important thing in our study program is the master's project we are teaching in. So we have every semester a huge master's project, which is around 15 ECTS. So half of your semester you will spend in a master project, which means that you deal with a topic for around half a year, 5 to 6 months, in a small group. So we have a supervisor, and then we have a small group, a maximum of 10 people, dealing together with only one topic, very deepen their knowledge on it, for example, on sustainable inner city development or other spatial topics. So you really work together in a team with a supervisor together. You get to know these topics very deeply. And the 4th semester masters is structured that you have the last semester completely somehow free for your master thesis. So you really can take your time to focus on a special topic you want to deepen in the end of your master studies. We also have some, I call them special teaching methods. So as I already mentioned, we have these project courses where you really work together in a team with the other students together and with a supervisor. But we also have a lot of excursions or something we call 𝘗𝘓𝘪𝘳𝘓 in German, which means that you have for 1 week a very intense week of a special topic where you deepen your knowledge. So it's not this classical courses, more or less interactive with different study groups, and you really can enjoy learning in different formats. And what we also doing is studying and teaching very international. So we have these Erasmus program, for example, different intensive programs, but you also have the chance to go abroad in your master's program. So if you're studying here in Hanover, for example, the 3rd semester would be great to go abroad at our partner university and all over Europe to see another university for 1 semester and collect other experience from Europe there as well. We have a lot of university partnerships, for example, with Thessaloniki, but also we have German-French planning seminars. And our university is also a part of the European Universities Linking Society and Technology, which is shortly called EU list, which means we have a lot of informal or formal cooperation with other universities that are not part of these Erasmus contracts. So we have a lot of other cooperations where you can go abroad and where you have a lot of different projects with. So we are also try to teach internationally and have international case studies. So not only focusing on Germany. What you should bring if you want to study our major territorial development is a basic knowledge in landscape planning and nature conservation. Sure, our master's program somehow fits to our bachelor in landscape architecture and environmental planning, but you can also do another bachelor, for example, in urban or regional planning, or something that deals with plant ecology and soil science. So we have to, you have to have a basic knowledge, but not deep knowledge in all of these topics. What you also should do is enjoy the field work. As I said, we are working in smaller groups as a team, and we really want to get actively involved with users or trying to have creative scientific work by including interviews and other mapping techniques in our teaching abilities. And what you also should be interested in the challenges I mentioned, so not only climate change, but also society change and so on. And it would be great if you have experience in planning offices or nature protection bodies, but it's not mandatory. And sure, a basic knowledge of English is important because this program is completely in English. Where can you work after you graduated this program? So we have a lot of environmental planners that are engaged in public authorities, but also organizations or planning offices. And we have a lot of private companies that also deal with environmental planning. And we have the experience that international students are very welcomed in Hanover and Germany that have this degree, and they sure can work here in Germany very well. What do you do in your work life? So you mainly deal with landscape and spatial planning, but also with some special landscape assessments like the environmental assessment or habitat protection, but also urban and regional development, which is the main course of this master program. And we have a lot of students that deal with tourism, but also environmental education and consulting after they graduated at Hanover. And sure, as we are Master of Science, you have the chance to embark on a doctoral studies. So this can also be an opportunity to stay here at the university. We also hire some students assistants so that you get into our team here and somehow get a chance to see how the scientific work is at university. You can apply via online. So on our website, which is also here, I can post it in the chat as well. You can see all the requirements that you have to hand in. So it needs to be sure your application documents, including a motivation letter, which not should be that long, so a maximum of 1 page, and some work examples. You can use some work examples from your bachelor's, for example. So just hand in what you already did and show that you somehow fit to our program. So if you're dealing with spatial context, territorial development, just hand in such work samples. And yeah, just let us know, why do you want to come to Hanover and why do you want to study this program? I will not go into detail with all these application deadlines because I will post it in the chat as well. So we have a lot of application deadlines for non-EU, for EU. So feel free to have a look at our website. It's mostly the 1st of June, the 1st of December, or the 15th of April and the 15th of October, where you have to apply. And for all of them who are not from the EU, you have to apply via UniAssist. So this is a platform where it's already mentioned what you have to hand in. And why do you have to study in Hanover? Just quickly, we have some additional learning environments that should help you to study here. For example, the Center for Quality Enhancement in Teaching and Learning, which also has a lot of e-learning courses and which helps you with the language, but also with scientific working and methods and so on. And we have a study buddy program, which means that people from abroad have the chance to get a study buddy who helps you with, be part of the university, welcoming here, try to find an accommodation, and so on. We also have an international office that helps you with everything. So feel free to contact us and ask your questions. And last but not least, Hanover is a very nice city and has a very good surrounding. It's the capital of Lower Saxony and has a large exhibition site. And we have a lot of larger companies where also some students of us work with. And it's a green city. So as I already mentioned, we are close to 𝘱𝘢𝘪𝘥𝘪𝘰, Maschsee, but also we have a large forest, 𝘱𝘢𝘪𝘥𝘪𝘱. So it's not only good to study here, but you also have a good surrounding to study. So feel free to ask your questions to me or to the Dean of Studies. It's Sonja Nollenberg. And you can also find the links here in my presentation I will share, and I will also share it in the chat. So we are very happy if you want to apply, and if you have any questions, feel free to post it in the chat or just contact me via email. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Dr. Greintke, for a wonderful presentation, very informative one. Various aspects of studying in Hanover and exactly on this program has been touched upon. Thank you. And yeah, please feel free to share as much information in the chat as you would like to. It's all open. So we've now moved to our last speaker for today, and then we'll open the floor for the Q&A session. So as I already introduced, it's Professor Dr. Hans-Jürgen Schmitz from Frankfurt University of Applied Sciences. And he will talk about Master of Science level program in Advanced Architecture. And you can see also where Frankfurt is located also in front of your screens. Let me stop the screen share, and Professor, you can start.
Thank you for your introduction, and welcome also to the students. And I will share my screen to present you our program of the Master of Science of Advanced Architecture. And to be honest, I'm just a substitute because the head of the program, Professor Wolfgang Jung, is not available today, and he handed over to me. But I will do my very best to introduce the program to you, as I'm teaching in that as well as an architect. And I just want to start with that diagram here, and you see some of the programs, bachelor and master programs we have in our faculty. And you see the advanced architecture is here in the upper left. We have, of course, also other international programs for urban agglomerations. We have barrier-free systems, inclusive design, and of course more constructive things like civil engineering. But the advanced architecture is linked very much, of course, to the architecture programs. We have a German master, and we have that international master of advanced architecture, which is based on, of course, a bachelor. And this is also what you need to apply for the program. But you see, our faculty has a lot of different programs, and that is, of course, also an opportunity for use for sharing modules that we have with the other programs, and also the interactive interaction with in the faculty. I skip a bit the German master, which is linked, and show you the this is the flyer. You will find it on our website with more information on that. And you see here the name of the program is Advanced Architecture from Urban Design to Building Construction, and that is mainly the range of the program. So as we have seen before, we have programs of landscape design, which is the very big scale, and we reduce the scale now from urban to building, and that is also, of course, related to the city of Frankfurt, which is very different to the locations before, as at least from Anhalt. We are in a city, and also our University of Applied Sciences is more or less in the center of the city. It's a city campus, and where you work very close together with also the other students. So I just introduced to look at the flyer. I will show you the program in detail on another scale, and start with our program. We see it here, it's from bottom up. And what is the content of our program of advanced architecture? We start with some common courses, for example, with also our German students. This is what we heard already, impromptu designs. These are just, let's say, small projects, hands-on tasks, and we want to learn to know each other. So as we have very international program as well, students from, let's say, more or less all continents, and you are introduced to each other. So you start with that, but you also have lectures that are just given on design and construction in the first and the second semester. And you have also courses. There are no elective courses in the first year, but you see there are in the second and third semester You have elective courses. In total, you have 4 elective courses and a range of more or less 15 different opportunities to choose. Then you start with urban context and international design context, doing projects in studios, and then you focus later on new building and existing design contexts. And in the 3rd semester, very important, there is a scientific project that is of your own choice and your own topic you can bring in here, and you do some scientific research on it, of course, under supervision. And the program ends then in the 4th semester with the master thesis that may come from your specialization or research project, and you can choose it by an own topic, or you can just take topics that are given. The program is, of course, quite also the opportunity to have courses also with the German students if you are a bit, if you just learn the language, which is also a good opportunity when you go abroad. So you can do student courses with our German students, but these courses here, they are all English. So it's this is the international program. Next slide, perhaps to give you some ideas what I'm talking about when we say advanced architecture. You see here the Barcelona pavilion. It's rebuilt. It doesn't no longer exist. Mies van der Rohe in Barcelona. So this was a project that was also visited. So we also do a lot of excursions and just having projects hands-on, as you already heard, that in Germany we have universities and we have University of Applied Sciences. And as Frankfurt is also an University of Applied Sciences, we try to do our programs really hands-on and on real projects. Some pictures from projects, the different scales, urban context, we go into, normally German cities around, but sometimes also international cities. And then you have a design and construction task in there. And design and construction is very important in our Frankfurt programs of architecture, because we really want to not only design, but also go to the construction level to work with material and also to understand how to realize projects, which maybe in some of the international architecture programs is not very much a focus, but in Germany, architects also do the construction. And so our programs of architecture and also the advanced architecture master is doing these both levels. So design and construction is always included in the projects. And that starts with model. This is new buildings, design and construction here, working with models, working in studios and working also with teams. I will show you a bit more. Then working, and this is especially in Europe, but maybe also more and more in the world, working with existing buildings in context. We work here as in a studio, and you do then projects on site and also develop and reuse projects. A table of our elective courses. You see there are 18 in total. They are not offered all semester, but they are all offered to you. So you have a wide range of elective courses to choose. Some of them are only German, but most of them can be done in English and German, and we have also a mixture of that. And you have the opportunity to choose different things. I will not go too much into detail, just so more show you some pictures of the tasks that are done here. So in impromptu designs, we often take also opportunities to do projects from your country where you come from. And yeah, we want to learn from each other. So that's very important also for the Master of Advanced Architecture to understand maybe global architecture and what are the commons and what are also the differences, isn't it? But you also get, of course, German tasks here from Berlin, for example. So just impromptu design, small task. The international design and building project, also some tasks that are just really hands-on and doing design studios, but also the opportunity to do something maybe a bit different and crazy things as well. The international design project often is with our collaborating universities. We have also collaborations not only in Europe, but also more or less all over the world. But our experience is that foreign students come to us want to do maybe also more or less the European context. And because if you come to Europe, then there are collaborations. Here's a project in Belgium we did with the students, where they had the opportunity to work also with our Belgian partner university on an existing building. The specialization project is your research project. It's from your own ideas, but also what you can choose. There are different opportunities. We need to understand what is scientific research in the context of architecture, and you can do it on historic buildings, but you can also go down to details and materials, and of course always the topic of sustainability and more also resilience is an important part of all of our research. And here you can of course work together with our research institute which we have in the faculty. Final is then, of course, a master thesis. You can do that as a follow project of your own research, or you just get a task to choose. And here I already want to stop because, trying to catch the time, and hope you got at least a brief idea of the program. Perhaps a few last words of to apply. I will also send you or give you the link where you can get all the information and the flyer and the progress of appliance. You always also need of course a Bachelor of Architecture as basis, and then we want to know about your motivation, your CV, and also we want to see of some of the projects that you did before when you apply for that program. Yeah, I finished. Thank you for your attendance and interest, and I hand over back to Georgie.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Professor, for your presentation. And now I would say let's open the floor. We have around 10 minutes left for the Q&A. And let me ask you some questions now to everyone. So let me start maybe with this first question that I see from Nazanin. I want to ask about PhD opportunities in these universities, if possible. And I remember there was a question if it's possible to do PhD in that or that university. It's important to know. What about Frankfurt?
Yeah, it's also possible, as we have some institutes that can run PhD programs also in our university. So it depends a bit on the topic, but at least with the cooperation of another university, it's always possible. Depends a bit on the supervisors, but if you want to do a PhD, we also can make contact, and you can you can do your PhD with us.
Okay, clear. Thank you, Professor. And now Hanova?
I think it's the same. So sure, it's possible to do a PhD at our university. So we also offer some PhD programs where you can be part of, but you can also do your PhD outside of such a project program.
Okay, Very good. Thank you very much. Now there's two questions that I would like to combine. The question is, are your programs NC programs? So this, I think it's meant numerus clausus programs. And then do you have any specific GPA requirements that you expect from the applicants to have? Let me start with Hanover now.
So no, we don't have an NC, so you can apply. So it always depends on how good the average of the students is. So sure, we want to have the best ones, but there's no NC, so you can apply. And the requirements are the ones that I presented, so that you have to have some basic knowledge in territorial development, but also in some plant-based courses. But what we also offer, if you don't have all this experience, you can get some requirements from us, which you can do in the first or second semester of your master's. It's just, I don't know, getting more knowledge from another course, so that you can join a course. You don't have to do an exam or something like this. You just have to listen to the course to get a deeper knowledge. So you don't have to bring everything.
Perfect. Good to know. Thank you. And now Frankfurt.
Yeah, we have an NC that is 2.3 according to the German system. But as well, we focus a lot then on the portfolio. So we always have we have only 20 places or 20 opportunities, and we only start in the summer semester. So when we have appliances about 180. So it's just that we focus a lot also on the portfolio and the motivation.
Great, thanks. And regarding the GPA, also Professor mentioned 2.3 German. It's also important for students to know. I also put in the chat the link where you can approximately convert your existing GPA to the German GPA, which is a bit different from that is in your countries. Okay, another important question, I think it's important one regarding how can I apply with provisional transcript. So if students, for example, they want to apply, but they do not have the final transcript yet, can they still apply and provide the transcript later or not? So in case of Hanover, it was yes, I saw the answer. What about Frankfurt?
Yeah, it's also yes. It's just our international office and also the head of program is very helpful for those. Just if you are not sure, just ask and apply for it. So that is also that you will get, at least you will get an answer, and your specific topic will be dealt with, with knowledge, and of course, just try.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you, Professor. Now a bit more towards the bureaucratic side of the questions, and I still think it's important because many students are worried about the housing opportunities, when they should apply, how to find the housing, are there any dormitories there? So because they don't want to pay, of course, thousands of euros for the flats, that's quite understandable. So is there any help with housing? And I would add from my side, do you have your own student dormitories that you could offer to students? Ladies of Hanover?
Yeah, we also have student dormitories, and we also have some private investors that implemented some student dormitories that that are somehow not that expensive. And we also have an international office and the so-called Studentenwerk, which will help you and assist you in finding a nice place to sleep. And Hanover is a more larger city, but it's not that expensive as Berlin or something like this. So it's still affordable to live here.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. Thank you. And Frankfurt.
Yeah, basically it's more or less the same. We also have what we have called Studentenwerk, so students supplies, and we have dormitories there. But different from the other countries, from the other places, unfortunately, Frankfurt is a bit expensive. So if you apply, just you should be aware that it's not a cheap city. So I cannot do about that, but I suffer it myself, but it's how it is.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks for still underlining this. It's important for students also to know how you should budget, dear attendees. It's always important to know. Okay, great. I think we have time for one more question, and then we can call it a day. And dear attendees, for all the remaining questions, you can get in touch with our representatives, not our representatives, but our guests themselves, so they can provide answers. Let me address another pain of students with Michael's question regarding the problem with visa, which is sometimes in many countries, they're getting it late and they have to miss the part of the semester, which is very bad, not only for their academic achievements, but also for socializing and integration into this student life in Germany. So if this happens, and hopefully it will not happen with many students, what is the opportunity? Can they start online and then continue when they come on spot? Can they reserve their spot, or do they have to apply then afterwards? So what are the suggestions or solutions that you could offer? I'm sure you have faced this situation several times, unfortunately, again. Let me start with Frankfurt.
Yeah, of course, that is always a topic. We all experience that, especially with the extra challenge of the pandemic, which came in also to that. So we have a lot of experience of running courses, partly online and just to introduce students from abroad. So we will do our very best. Of course, the very best is to be on site. But if that is not possible, we really try to do the very best from the beginning of the course, that people or just students from abroad can take part.
Mm-hmm. Okay, great, thanks. Now
Hanover, it's the same.
So it's the same. Okay.
Yeah, so we have this November date, and then, but if you applied once and you are accepted, you will be accepted the next time as well. So it's fine, but we still have 1 or 2 courses that you can take online, but I would suggest to just wait a semester and then start the next. So it's also fine.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much, everyone, for your answers. And now I would like to say officially, thank you with official slide to everyone, to our guests, for your wonderful presentations and for clearly answering all of the questions that were posed in the chat or live. And dear attendees, once again, also thanks for joining and for your interest and for your questions. I see there are some open questions, but because of time limitations, we cannot address them also right now. As I said, please get in touch with with our guests. They all provide you with the contact details, and they will be happy to help you with further questions. If you have any general questions regarding studying in Germany, of course, you can also refer to us, and we will also do our best to help you. All right, yeah, if you would like to also have leave us a feedback for today's webinar, please do so through our Facebook or Google pages. We always take them into account. Yes, with that being said, thanks once again to everyone. I wish you a very nice rest of the day and hope to see you on our future webinars as well. Thank you and bye-bye.
Thank you, Georgi, and thank you to the audience.